Hey everyone, welcome back to eCoreAcademy. It's me again, Ranen Shakir, back with another pre-algebra video. Today we have divisibility, as you can see by the title of this video and the title of our slides. As always, before we start the video, please make sure to leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and to help support our channel and our community to get more videos out to you guys. So, divisibility, what is it? We're going to find out, and we're going to learn some tricks to find factors of numbers quicker. That's what divisibility is going to teach us. Another lame meme today. It's not really a meme. It's just you'll understand once we finish this, because every one of these numbers have easy or nice divisibility rules except 7. So these are all the numbers that we're going to cover. We're going to cover 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We won't cover 1 because I will explain in a second, but you should already hopefully know. So without further ado, let's get started. As always, we're going to start with a couple of vocab terms just to get ourselves familiarized or our minds refreshed what divisibility is. So divisibility is a process that a number goes evenly with no remainder into another number. Well, an example here is that 2 goes evenly into 10 5 times, because 2 times 5 is 10. Therefore, 10 is divisible by both 2 and 5. So divisibility helps you find the factors of a number. So we can find the factors of 10 are 2 and 5. Now, divisibility rules are rules that let you test if one number is divisible by another with minimal calculation. So if you didn't know what numbers 10 is divisible by, or what factors of 10 you could have, we're going to learn that. So before we start, I want to explain why 1 doesn't have any divisibility rules, because every number is divisible by 1. 1 and that number itself is always going to be one set of factors. So every number always has at least one set of factors, like 2 different numbers except 1, because 1 times 1 is itself, so 1 only has one factor. But we didn't worry about that for this, because divisibility is just going to help us test bigger numbers, 2 and on. So let's start with the first 3 numbers, divisibility rules, 2, 3, and 4. So divisibility rule for number 2 is any number ending in an even number or 0 is divisible by 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, all divisible by 2 because they all are even numbers. Even 100, 456, 700, 8,788. Those are both divisible by 2 since they both end in a positive integer or 0. So that's a pretty easy one. Every even number is divisible by 2. Every number ending in 0 is divisible by 2. So that's a pretty easy and straightforward one. 3 is also a nice one. It is the sum of the digits of the number is divisible by 3. The number is then divisible by 3. So what this means is that if the sum of your digits in your number is a number that is a number that's a factor of 3, that number as a whole is divisible by 3. So if example 9, you should know 9 is already divisible by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 12, you should already know this too, because 12 divided by 4 is 3. So 3 and 4 are factors of 12. Therefore 4 and 3 are. Therefore 12 is divisible by 4 and 3. 39, 1 and 13. That number is divisible by 3, because if you add up the integers, 3 plus 9 is 12, and you know 12 already is divisible by 3. So that's my number. Then number 39 is divisible by 3. 75, another one. 7 plus 5 is 12. Therefore, this number is divisible by 3. If you were to divide it to find out by what, it would be 3. So you would have 75 divided by 75. Here, let's write it out. You would figure out what numbers are divisible by 75. You would have 75, and you could divide that by 3. And that would give you, so 3 times 2 would give you 20, and you carry the 1, it would give you 25. So 75 is divisible by 3 25 times. So that's how you can check it. And then you can do the same process for 246, because 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 2 is 12. That number is divisible by 3. So if we have 246, if we divide that, but that's not a division symbol, that's a square root symbol, sorry. If you have 246, and you want to divide that by 3, you'll have 8. Oh, I'm so sorry. You have 246. Oh my gosh, I need to stop. You have 246, and you're dividing that by 3. You have 8, 24. Bring down to 6, 82. So 3 times 82 would give you 246. So 246 is divisible by 3 and 82. Okay. Next rule is 4. 4 is also a kind of a nice one too. It is if the last 2 digits of the number are divisible by 4, the number is then divisible by 4. So we start with 48. 48 is divisible by 4. If you do 48, you divide it by 4, you're gonna get 12. So 48 is divisible by both 12 and 4, since 12 and 4 are both factors of 48. That's another way you can think of it. 120, once again, 2 and 0, the last 2 digits of 4, though 4 times 5 is 20, so you know that 120 is going to be divisible by 4 30 times, because if you have 30 times 4, that gives you 120. 1312, once again, the last 2 digits are 1 and 2, which is 12. 12 is divisible by 4. So if you had 1312 and you're dividing it into 4 pieces, you'd have a 3, because then you have a 12, and you have an 11, and you have a 2, you have an 8, and you have a 32. So then you'd have 328 as your final answer. Therefore, 1312 is divisible by both 4 and 328. And then same thing with 364 and 7,216. If you do the same process, you'd figure out that they're both divisible by 4. We're going to do some practice later on, but so these are the first 3 numbers. Let's move on to the next 3. So 5, 6, 7, 5 is really easy. If it's any number ending in 5 or 0, it is divisible by 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, on and on forever. So you can see 10 ends in a 0, divisible by 5 and 2, since 5 times 2, 10 divided by 2 is 5. 50, divisible by 5, 75, 385, 990, since they all end in a 0, 5, 5, 0, 0. So that's an easy one too. Okay. Next is 6. 6 is any number that is even and divisible by 3. So what this means is that the number has to be even and divisible by 3. So you can figure out a number is divisible by 6 if you first figure out if it's even. So for an example, we go with, let's use 36. If it's even, it ends in an even number, we know it's even. And if it's divisible by 3, we know this is divisible by 3 because 3 plus 6 is 9, and we know 9 is divisible by 3. So this number is also divisible by 6 and 3. 72, same case. If this is even, which it is, and if the integers of the number, digits of the number, add up to something divisible by 3, in this case 9 again, which it is, so this number is also divisible by 6. Same deal with 762, it's a bigger number. All right, now 7 is an annoying one. So what this says is that if the double of the last digit, which means the last digit times 2, that's what the double means. If the double of the last digit and the difference of it from the number made by the other digits is divisible by 7, then the number is 2. All right, so this is a little annoying one, but let's take 105, which is one of our examples already. 105 right here. So let's take 105. So it says double the last digit. So if you double 10, if you double 5, you'd get 10. So you have a double of 10, double of 5, I'm so sorry, is 10. And then you find the difference of the number made by the other digits. So 10 minus 10 is 0. This is going to work since any number can work with 0. So you'd have 105, and then if you divided this by 7, you'd have 1 here, 7, 35, and then so 15. That's how you figure this out. Let's try 672. If we double the last digit, we get 4. So then we have 67, because that's the remaining numbers, minus the double of this, which is 4. 67 minus 4 is 63, and 63 is divisible by 7. So this is how we know that 672 is divisible by 7. So you can see how this 7 rule is very annoying. We don't like this 7 rule, but if you have to use it, you have to use it. So that's 7. Let's move on to our final 3. So for 8 is if the last 3 numbers of the number are divisible by 8, the number is also. Once again, this is not really an easy or helpful one, to be honest, because the last 3 digits of a number, and that gives you into the big numbers. So you can't really use this divisibility rule without numbers that have 4 or more digits, to be honest. And so, like for example, if you use 128, that's already 3 digits. But we know that 128 is going to be divisible by 8, because first that was an example. But if we have 128, and we're going to find the divided by 8, we'd have 1, we have 8, and then we have 48, and then we have 6, so 16. That's how you can figure out, because you're going to get a whole number. So if you want a whole number in your answer, that's how you know it would be divisible by that number. So 128 is divisible by 8 16 times. If we were to use a bigger number, like 3,128, since we just figured out that 128 is divisible by 8, this entire number is now divisible by 8. If you want to prove that, if you really want to prove that, and you don't trust me, we can prove it. We have 8. We can have a 3 here. We can have 24. We'd have 72. Okay, we have 72, and then we have a 9, and this would cancel out, and you have an 8, and then you have a 0. I'm sorry, not a 0, a 1. That's, can't do simple division. 1. So 391, this is a whole number, or yeah, so that's how you know it would be divisible by 8. Now for 9 is the sum of the digits of the number is divisible by 9. So it's a similar rule to 8. I'm sorry, to 3, where the sum of the digits are divisible by the number that you're trying to figure out what it's divisible by. In this case, it's 9. And a little note here is that all numbers divisible by 9 are also divisible by 3, since 3 is already divisible. Since 3 is already divisible by 9. So, but remember, this only works if all numbers divisible by 9 are divisible by 3, not the other way around. It does not work the other way around. It only works all numbers divisible by 9 divisible by 3, but not all numbers divisible by 3 are divisible by 9. So for example, 33 is divisible by 3, but 33 is not divisible by 9. Not x is a not times. So if we use our example here, we go 108, we try 108. You see how all the numbers added up is 9, and 9 is divisible by 9. So 108 is divisible by 9, and if you know your times tables, which you should already, 108 divided by 9, it gives you 12 wholes. So that's how you know can you get a whole number, it's divisible. And finally, probably one of the easiest ones, the easiest one, probably, is 10. Is if the number ends in a 0, the number is divisible by 10. Simple as that. So you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way to forever. If the number ends in a 0, it is divisible by 10. Not much to show here, to be honest. Let's just take 440. We know this is divisible by 10, ends in a 0. And if you really want to check it, again, if you don't trust me, we'd have 440 divided by 10. We'd have a 4. Let me get 40. Let me have a 4. Bring down a 0, 40. 44 times. And if you know your 10 tricks, like I would say, is that 440 divided by 110 you cancel out. It would cancel out the 0, so you'd have 44. So any number ending in a 0 is divisible. Any whole number ending in 0 is divisible by 10. All right, let's move on to some practice. Gotta love the practice. So for this practice, it's a little different. It's a chart. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out if these 5 numbers on our left is divisible by all of the rules we just learned. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so let's do this. All right, so first let's start with 42. Let's start with 2. We should know off the bat. Oops, sorry. We should know, if we can see off the bat that this number 42 and 2, we can see it is divisible by 2. We should see off the bat that it is an even number. It ends in a 2. Therefore, this number is divisible by 2. It's going to be divisible by 2 21 times. 21 times 2 is 42. All right, next let's try 3. We can see 3, if we add the digits of the number, it'd be 4 plus 2, which is 6. 6 is divisible by 3. This number is also divisible by 3. Now, if we try 4, if we use our rule for 4, this number is not going to work because this 42 is not divisible by 4. So this is not going to work. If we use 5, it doesn't end in a 5 or a 0. Automatically no, doesn't work. 6, we'd figure out if the number is even and if it's divisible by 3. So we already proved that this number is even because it's divisible by 2, and we already proved it's divisible by 3. Therefore, this number is divisible by 6. All right, now 7. You should honestly know this because 6 times 7 is 42. So therefore 42 is divisible by 7. 8 is not gonna work because you should already know that, because 8 rule is a little different because you got to find the first 3 digits. It's only 2 digits. And then 9, you should already know that it's not gonna work because it is it's not one of your. It's not on the ones you should. Because nothing multiplies with 9 to get you to 42. This isn't gonna work. And then 10, already know it's not gonna work because it doesn't end in a 0. All right. 84, first off, you see it's even. It is divisible by 2. Simple as that. Next, we go for 3. We gotta use our rules. We gotta add the digits up. 8 plus 4 is 12. Therefore, this is, and 12 is divisible by 3, so this is 2. 4, if we see it's even, if we know that, we should know the rule that if you can put in 4 to this number 21 times, so this is divisible by 4. It's not by 5, doesn't end in a 5 or a 0. Okay, and it is by 6 because you can see that it's even and divisible by 3, so this is divisible by 6. By 7, this number is divisible by 7. You should already know this. 7 times 12 is 84. By 8, it is not divisible by 8 because if you try to divide it, you only get 8 once, and then you get stuck because you can't. 8 doesn't go into 4 evenly. And then 9, it is not divisible by 9 because it's an even. No, it's not it's not divisible by 9 because it's not one of the numbers that are divisible by 9. This is not divisible by 9 because if you add the integers up, 8 and 12, 12 is not divisible by 9. And then 10, of course, doesn't end in 0. All right, 75. Right off the bat, this is not divisible by 2 because it's odd. This is divisible by 3 because 7 plus 5 is 12, divisible by 3. This is not going to be divisible by 4 because it, if you try to divide it, you get an uneven number. If you use the rule for 5, it is because it ends in a 5. If you use it for 6, it's not because it's not even. So this is not divisible by 6. 7, it is not because it can only go in. It doesn't go in evenly. 8. It is also not. You can't really test that with this again. It's only 2 digits, but it's not. 9, it's not, and 10, it is not. All right. Let's do 90. 90, yes, this is divisible by 2 since it is an even number. That was a really bad check mark anyways. 3, yes it is, because 9 plus 0 is 9, and 9 is divisible by 3. 4, it is not going to be divisible by 4. 5, it is. 6, it is, since you can see it's already even divisible by 3. 7, it is not. 8, it is not going to be divisible by 3. I'm sorry, it's not going to be, 90 is not going to work. 9, it is, because 9 plus 0 once again is 9, and that is a number divisible by 9. And then 10 is right also, since it ends in a 0. All right, last number, 66. Why don't you guys give this one a try? Pause the video and figure it out, and then see if you get it right. This isn't too bad. All right, hopefully in a second to pause the video and try to figure it out. Let's do this together. Oops. Nah, it's okay. I need to do that. All right, 66. It is divisible by 2. It is an even number. It is divisible by 3 because 6 plus 6 is 12, and 3 is divisible, and 12 is divisible by 3. Excuse me. It is okay, for 4. It is not, because this number doesn't go. 4 doesn't go even into this number, so it is not. 5, it is not. 6, it is. You should already know 6 times 11 is 66, but also you can see it's divisible by 2 and 3. 7, it's not. 8, it is not. 9, it is not. And 10, it is not. All right, so if you got those right, good job with 66. If not, it's okay. Try to put in, try to look back and see if you might get wrong and put this in, like, use your rules once again. All right. So now that we're done with this slide, let's go on to even more practice, because we all love practice, and practice is the only way you get good at math. All right, so I'm gonna put some random numbers on the screen, and you're gonna pause the video and try to figure them out and see what numbers they are divisible by, with the ones that we've learned, obviously. If there's more numbers that we haven't talked about that it is divisible by all means put it down. But all right, let's do a couple of examples and then we'll finish this video. All right, so let's start with an easy one. Let's start with 100. Figure out what numbers these are. Figure out what numbers 100 is divisible by, and pause the video and try to figure out. All right. Okay, so hopefully in a second to pause the video and try to figure it out. Let's go through this together. So off the bat, hopefully you put that this number is divisible by 2 since it ends in a 0 or an even number. So this is divisible by 2. Hopefully you didn't put 3 because 1 plus 0 plus 0 is 1, which is not divisible by 3. Hopefully you put 4 because this number is divisible by 4. It is divisible by 4 25 times. If you know your quarters, you see 25, 50, 75, 100. You know that this is divisible. You know that 100 is divisible by 4. What else we got? 5, yes it is, ends in a 0 or a 5. 6, it is not, because it is not divisible by 3, but it is even, but it's not divisible by 3, so that's not going to work. 7, it does not work. 8 does not work. 9 does not work. 10 does work. And yeah, those are the rules that we learned. So you can see this number, it is divisible by 2, 4, 5, and 10. But now what you'd have to do, if this is all the question asks you, that's great. But now what you would actually have to do to probably figure out a math problem is that figure out what numbers times these numbers actually get you 100, and that's where factors and multiples come in. That's where we learn factors and multiples. So if we figure it out, even if you punch the calculator, you can see that 100 divided by 2, this would give you 50. You should already know that one, but if you didn't, there you go. If you put in 100 divided by 4, this would give you 25. You put 100 divided by 5, that would give you 20. And 100 divided by 10 gives you 10. So these would be your factors of 100, essentially. because you found half the factors already by using your divisibility rules, and now you know all the factors of 100 by just doing that. So this is how divisibility can come into play to help you find your factors, because you're essentially finding half your factors already, and then this is all you have left to do, and then you're done. So that was 100. Pretty straightforward number. Hopefully didn't cause you too much grief. That was a simple number. So let's do a bigger number. Let's do let's do 1,111. Hopefully the number looks big, but hopefully not too bad. So let's figure out. Well, first you figure it out. Take a second to pause the video and figure this out, and then we'll recoup and see if you get it right. All right, so hopefully a second to figure it out. Let's do this one together after you figure it out. So off the bat, you should know it's not 2. The number is not divisible by 2 because it's not an even number. It's not divisible by 3. It doesn't end in an even number. Sorry, it doesn't. The digits don't add up to a number divisible by 3. It's not going to work for 4, not going to work for 5, it's not going to work for 6, not going to work for 7, not going to work for 8, not going to work for 9, not going to work for 10. So let's go one step above. Let's figure out for 11. Now, you're probably I didn't learn this rule. Well, that's okay. So let's take our number, 1,111. Let's divide it by 11. Let's see, you get 1, so this would be 11, and you get 0, and you bring in the 1, this would be 0, and then this would be 1 again, so 0, 1, and you bring in the other 1, this would be 11, so 101. So that way, you just found 2 factors of 1,111, which are 11 and 100, and that's not correct. 11 times 100 is not 1,100. 11 and 101. So you just found 2 factors like that. If you just divide it, there you go. You could punch in the calculator, you get the same answers. So essentially you can figure out what numbers is divisible by. If you don't know your rules, you can divide a number by another number to see if it's divisible by it. But you don't want to go around punching in all your all different values just to figure out what number is divisible by. So that's where a calculator comes in handy, and that's why simple divisibility rules also come in handy. So once you figure that out, you can punch that into a calculator and see what your factors are. All right, so that was today's lesson. It was a shorter one because divisibility isn't something that is used as you go higher, because it is used. I take that back. But once you have your calculators, you can use calculators all the time. Divisibility goes out the window, but it's still important to learn and know about it, so we can use it further in this subject at least. So that was it for today's video. Well, thank you for watching, staying tuned, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. Support our community. Make sure to check out our website, and feel free to email us for any questions, comments, or concerns. As well as our other socials are down in the description box below. This has been Divisibility with me, Ranen Shakir, and I'll see you guys next time in our next video. Goodbye.